Welcome to MindBody TV. I'm Dr. Kim Duramo, and in today's episode, I'm going to share the reason why radical responsibility for everything taking place in your life is the key to freedom. So welcome to everyone who is joining live. Welcome to everyone who is listening to the recording. I would love to hear where you're tuning in from. And I would love to hear, as we go through this broadcast, what comes up for you? What does this hit on? What does this trigger? The reason for my creating MindBody TV is to bring the awareness of how the body heals itself and to support and assist everyone in living their highest vitality, highest level of aliveness, highest level of passion, because that is when we live the highest contribution. We are all connected, and we've been in this sort of matrix of this belief system thinking we're separate, we're broken, and it's a victim-y, graspy place where we're living in lack. But no matter what's been happening for you in your life personally, or how things more on a global level are affecting or triggering you, when you begin to take radical responsibility for how things go in your life, that is the only time you really gain the power. In fact, you might remember in Spider-Man, the uncle had said, with great power comes great responsibility. And the opposite is also true. With great responsibility comes great power. So if you are struggling with something in your life and it feels like you are a victim to those circumstances, or if you're struggling with an illness, something that just won't go away no matter what you do, I have all the compassion in the world for you. And I'm going to show you how and why. When you welcome full responsibility for everything happening, you receive great power. And that is the only place where you can really allow things to change. And so I'm going to share here the biggest reason why we don't do that, why we fail to do that. And it's really the biggest reason why I've seen people, when they come to this work or get introduced to this concept of your body heals yourself, your mind and body are connected, as within, so without, meaning your consciousness affects your body and your reality, why they bump it out and say, no, wait a minute. And that number one reason is, you're saying it's my fault I'm sick. You're saying it's my fault I have an autoimmune disease or a chronic fatigue syndrome. You're saying it's my fault I have cancer. Wait a minute. And then they block the whole thing out. So I want to clarify that right up front. It's not your fault. It never has been. It never will be. And it is your responsibility if you choose to receive that. And so the reason it's not your fault is, fault is past, right? Like XYZ happened and wait a minute, it's my fault. Fault is in the past. It's not even here now. And it's also like a wrongness, saying this shouldn't have happened. And because maybe I did this, or so-and-so did this to me, or this thing didn't happen, really consumes a lot of our energy. So what if you erase the chalkboard of fault, erase the chalkboard of wrongness, and you just embrace this moment right here, right now, as it is? Take a deep breath and relax your body. And you're willing to be responsible for how it goes in the future. So I would welcome all the compassion for yourself, for the hardship, for maybe the traumas, for everything you've experienced thus far, and get here now. Because now is the only moment where things can change. And I've seen this again and again and again in my life, where I'm like, stuck, or feeling victimized, or feeling like there's no answer, whether it's a situation in my life that I'm trying to get some headway on or trying to make changes, or my health, in the past, major health challenges, chronic fatigue syndrome, a severe autoimmune disease. And it felt like, I know my body can heal itself. I know the mind and body are connected. I know something within me is creating this, but I just couldn't get myself to a different place. And a big reason was I was blaming myself. So once we're ready to let that go and let go of blaming others, we can actually have a lot more power. And that is the only time things can really begin to change. So are you willing to embrace this, even though there's a part of you, because that part of you isn't even you, the ego that says, wait a minute, you're saying it's my fault, or, well, this would mean that, I've done something wrong, or like, let that whole thing go. You can erase the chalkboard of the one who thinks that, of all of those ideas and beliefs, and of all the feelings that go with them. Blow away the chalk dust and let all of that perspective go, because you are, in fact, responsible, and you can cultivate that responsibility, and that's when you cultivate power. The second biggest reason I see people come into this work understanding, okay, the body can heal itself, I can allow these inner changes, I'm somehow a part of that, but oh, wait a minute, and they bump it out, is because, well, if that's true, then I should have done it sooner. If that's true, then that I didn't do it sooner is wrong. If that's true, then all these years have been a total waste. And then again, the blame game. And you gotta just let that one go. Because the only time you can cultivate radical responsibility and therefore radical power and radical change is right here, right now. And if you're willing to do it unconditionally, meaning even if that part of me is going to make myself wrong, even if that part of me thinks I should have done it sooner, right? It's just a voice talking. It's not even you. You can let yourself do this anyway. You can let yourself do it right here, right now, and again in this now, and again in this now, and keep cultivating that radical responsibility. I am in charge. I am at choice. The only things you actually have control over are where you put your attention and what you do with your body. And so if you choose right now to just soften a little more, maybe you're triggered by this. Who is this chick thinking blah, blah, blah? She doesn't know my plight, which is, we're gonna get onto in number 3. That's not even you talking. That's the ego, that's the programming, that's the matrix we sometimes get enmeshed with and identify with. It's not even you. You are powerful. You are already clear on who you are, what you desire, and what you can create. And so you've got to get out of the one that thinks, the nitty gritty, I should have done it sooner, I'm making myself wrong, I'm blaming. That's not even you. So take a deep breath. Shouldn't have done it any sooner, because you're here right now realizing and receiving what you can realize and receive right now. And it's not true you could have done it any sooner, or that you should have done it any sooner. Whenever I'm sitting with something that's really challenging me, I realize I'm exactly where I need to be. Even if it's painful, even if it's so uncomfortable, even if part of my mind is really making it wrong, then I'm in the situation I'm in. I choose to be here now, and I choose to take responsibility now, and I choose to let it be okay that it didn't happen any sooner than now. So you are not, as I said in number 1, to blame for what happened, and you are not wrong for taking so long to get there. Now is your moment, and it is the only moment when you can really choose to show up fully. The third reason I see people sort of push this away, not embrace their own personal power, and not take responsibility, and therefore be able to manifest massive change, is their energy is still going into proving that they're right about their limitation. You ever see someone who's like, well, I'm a skeptic, so, and they sort of wear that like a protection, like, you're not gonna fool me. They're holding on to beliefs, ideas, protections, because it's like, no one's gonna fool me here, as if someone's trying to take advantage of them. You don't need to do that. You're not dumb. You can receive new awareness, new information, new perspectives, new ideas, and sort of percolate with it and get clear on what's true for you. You do not need the doubter. You do not need the skeptic. You do not need that layer of protection to sort of help you out, because no one's trying to harm you. And when you let go of putting so much energy into the doubt, into the skeptic, into the, justifying, well, you don't understand because I know I can't get better because blah, 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 arguing for the limitation, you regain so much energy. You wouldn't imagine, because I can read people's energy. I can see where their energy is going. And if it's going into feeding that doubter, that skeptic, that justification for why their situation is different, this doesn't apply to me, I really can't get better because fill in the blank, a ton of energy is getting eaten up by keeping that alive. And that's all the energy that can't go into creating something new. And whether you think you can or you cannot do something, you are right. In fact, Henry Ford said, whether a man thinks he can or thinks he cannot, he's right. And so he did incredible things and was super creative and did things that had never been done before because he understood this. What if I just get curious, right? The doubter, which is again, not you, it's part of the programming and it's going to be in there as if it is you, right? Well, I think blah, 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 but it's not actually you. It's the program. The doubter is going to tell you, no, you can't be free. Oh, this peppy blonde girl is just totally full of it. She's clueless. And it's going to keep you, quote, safe, what it thinks is keeping you safe in the old reality where you're not powerful, where you can't heal, where you can't have change. And so you may have like 100 reasons, but you don't understand. I have a diagnosis. I need medication. My doctor told me, blah, blah, blah. You have a lot, and the doubter is right about all of them. And you can either be right or you can be free. You can't usually be both, because again, that doubter, that skeptic who's like, let me justify this, let me show you why, isn't even you. It's a fabrication. It's a programming. It's not real. So there's no power in it. And when you feed that skeptic those protective little programs, or the personality who's like, let me check this out, and has a barrier up, you block receiving. And a lot of your energy goes into feeding that fabrication instead of being available for healing. So that's sort of the third reason why a lot of people don't take radical responsibility, don't access this massive, unthinkable power, and don't allow unbelievable healing to happen in their lives. So what have you been experiencing with this? Is it a physical challenge? Is it a diagnosis? And there can be a lot of conclusions about that. The ideas we have about what that diagnosis means, and then therefore the medical system and the practitioners in it, and the ideas they hold, which kind of used to be seen as like God, right? And now we're sort of starting to question, like, do they really know everything? But in our system, subconsciously, we could receive that, or the unconscious system receives it as they said this, and so therefore this. And so guess what? Your programming is going to create that. It's pretty fascinating, because we've even seen in studies that when people are told, you have 60 days to live, you have 90 days to live, that goes into the unconscious, and that person will like die on that 60th day, on that 90th day. And they've even seen in some studies, there was actually no disease, meaning like the program was so powerful that they thought you have this disease, and then therefore, so it plays itself out. Your cells are listening. They're listening to your thoughts and beliefs. They're listening to whatever you're tuned into unconsciously, playing that program of, that's not true. That can't happen. I can't heal. Wait a minute, it can't be that easy. And it will literally chemically show up and manifest in your body as true. But it doesn't have to, because when you take radical responsibility for what's happening right here, right now, you can let all of that change. So, what does radical responsibility look like? The first thing is, it looks like getting here now. If we're in the past, worry or figuring it out, or wait a minute, thinking really hard, you're not actually here. Your power isn't actually here. So take a deep breath. Let your body soften. Soft body always allows more breath, always allows more life. And a soft body and relaxed breath brings you out of the sympathetic nervous system into the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is where your body's in like high gear, go, run from the dragon, find the tree and escape the tiger. I don't know if tigers climb up the tree with you, but the point I'm making is your body's trying to escape, and it will mobilize all your energy into that escape, even if it's just a perceived threat. And what we've been seeing right now is most people are in that sympathetic fight or flight almost all the time, even though it's not a true threat. This is incredibly detrimental to your body, your immune system, your digestive functioning, your detoxification pathways, and it's also really detrimental to your brain and nervous system, meaning it activates and strengthens the paths of, how do I get out of it? Fight or flight. And it sort of like shuts off the paths, which is in the parasympathetic, of big picture awareness. What do I truly desire? What is true for me? Who am I truly? So that we could live according to that. So a lot of people, when you ask them, they were like, I don't know what I really want. I don't know what's really true for me, because they're in that that sympathetic fight or flight. It's okay. Soft body, full breath, it will begin to turn off, and you will activate an entire different part of your system. This is where self-healing happens. This is where, when we practice it enough, massive, unthinkable rearrangement in your physical structure, regeneration of the thyroid, regeneration of the adrenals, healing in the gut lining and microbiome. And so those diseases can resolve. You got to practice your way into the parasympathetic. And so the two things you have that you're at choice for, so getting here now, where do I put my energy? And how am I being when I'm here now? What do I do with my body? Where do I put my energy? And what do I do with my body? Those are actually the only things you ever have jurisdiction over. You always, always, always have those two choices, and they're enough. But you don't understand, I have this terrible disease, or, oh, you don't know my narcissistic husband, mother, you don't understand my traumatic past. I have PTSD, or I have blah, 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 fill in the blank. We own it. You don't have that. The system, the programming has held that, and it can change, because you are not your PTSD. You are not your brainwave patterns. You are not that inflammatory disease. You are not the state you're in right now. You are the I am presence that's here always, unchanged, witnessing all of it. And you, the I am presence, can bring a new quality of attention and a new way of being in the body. And so I would invite you with this to begin to ask yourself, am I willing to embrace what's here and take responsibility for what shows up next? Because it's a matter of, how do I perceive this and how do I respond? It can be a challenge because a lot can come up. How do I perceive this? Well, I'm really scared. So be here now, breathe in your body, witness what's there, take a few breaths, soft body, full breath, bring your presence here. Your perception gets created in your reality, but what if I shifted that? How do I perceive this? I'm scared. Okay, can I meet those feelings and sensations that are here that I'm calling fear? Can I let myself breathe through them, move through them, and let the energy release? Because it will. What if what's happening is a point of power? What if I could be different with this that allows a massive change, right? So you shift to curiosity. You're in fear, you notice, you breathe, open to curiosity. It's always this same process. Get here now, receptivity, softness in the body, more full breath. This is going to begin to change your brain chemistry to come from that high beta functioning of the programs, where you can't see beyond them, to actually get you in the body where you can feel and sense what's here and begin to ask questions, to get curious, to take full responsibility. So are you willing to be fully responsible for how it goes from here? One of the big things that can come up is, but I don't know how. And it's funny because you can remember, if you ever saw the Star Wars series, that Yoda said, there is no how. Do or do not. There is no how, right? And your mind like, what? Because the how actually comes through you, not from you. How do you make your blood pump? How do you wake up your brain in the morning, right? Your body's going to do that for you. Source energy, life force that flows through you will do all of the how for you. You've got to let go and allow that to happen. And taking radical responsibility for everything that happens is a major pathway for that, because you get out of blame, fault, you get out of I should have done it sooner, wrongness, and you get out of skeptic, doubter, protective personality. So what does this bring up for you? What questions do you have? We're going to take 1 or 2 questions that come up in the chat each week when we do the live broadcast, so that I can do some more videos and talk about that, go a little deeper into the content in a way that speaks specifically, directly to you. So what questions come up? How does that land? Is it awesome? Is it freeing? Or is it the opposite of that, right? Oh no. So that's not you talking, by the way. The I am that I am knows I'm powerful. I'm a creator. I am resourced. And so I would invite you this week to just move gently, 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 slowly, 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 more toward that. That is radical responsibility. I love you. Thank you for being here. We're here every week live at 11 a.m. Mountain Time to broadcast MindBody TV and whatever is the topic of the week. I am at drkimd.com. You can buy the book, The MindBody Toolkit, that really goes into 10 powerful tools you can use anytime, anywhere, to activate self-healing in your body, to cultivate radical responsibility and reclaim that power. With great power comes great responsibility, but also with great responsibility, cultivating your power in the now, comes great power. Always, always, always. And so the book is at drkimd.com/book, and you will gain these tools to do exactly that, anywhere, anytime, with a new relationship with your body. This is exactly how I was able to allow my body to heal a major, severe autoimmune disease with severe chronic pain, chronic fatigue syndrome, like nobody could figure out what's going on, in just days, right? Because the body can actually be very responsive when we let go and allow. We have multiple programs online at drkimd.com. You can start with the Instant Elevation Program. If you're new to this work, it is a very, very powerful way to get here now. I didn't know I was anywhere else. And utilize that power for creating health, for manifesting, for going into what your true heart desires, which you gotta tap into it. You gotta open up that energy center. And that is exactly what we do in the Instant Elevation Program. That is at drkimd.com/IEP if you would like to go forward with that on this journey to radical responsibility and radical power. I am so looking forward to hearing from you and to hearing what you choose to do with this. You, the I am self, right? You, the doubter self, is like, let me think about it. Let me prove why it's not true and it can't happen. Like, that's not even you. What will you do? Lots of love.